Hey, hi everyone. This is Sai from Let's Upgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us, like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
Hello, everyone. A warm welcome for you all for this amazing another topic of SQL. So, which is our data cleaning with the SQL string functions. So, when I say what is data cleaning, you don't have to worry about it. We are going to see in the upcoming next topics here. And how we can achieve this, we are going to see that using SQL queries. So when I say that we are going to achieve the data cleaning with the SQL string functions, how are we going to do that? And you might be wondering, hey, I am not aware of or heard about this topic yet. You don't have to worry about it because we are going to cover everything here. So even if you are not aware about it, you don't have to worry. We will be completely covering the basics, intermediate, and the advanced part of this particular topic. So you don't have to worry. We are going to use the trim, lower, replace, and some more functions which would help us to clean and standardize the messy text columns. So, what is messy text? So, when I say messy text, there we will see how the data cleaning will help us to beautify the content or the data of our table or any sort of thing. By the way, I am Samiksha Mishra and I will be driving this complete lecture to help you understand how and when you can use the data cleaning concepts with the SQL. You don't have to worry about anything. You just need to sit back, relax, and just keep doing the practice or whatever I am going to teach you just right with me so that you don't miss out on anything. In case you are finding it difficult, you can go back and watch it again. And we are going to use the hands on practices as well. So it's not just that we are going to cover the theory part, but yes, we will be writing the real queries also so that we will be able to understand and see how that we can work on. So let's move forward. Before diving into the concepts of the data cleaning and other things, let's see what are we going to learn extensively in this particular lecture. So here is the agenda. So in this topic, we will see what do I mean by data cleaning. We are going to understand in detail. So once we are done understanding the data cleaning, then we will learn more about the SQL string functions with which we can beautify or make my content look better, or I would say readable, by using our SQL string functions. So these are some functions which I have mentioned. We will dive into it. So these are all related to my SQL string functions. We will see how this works, where we can use, how you can use, and how the combination also works here. Once we are done understanding introduction and the overview of these SQL string functions, we will create a messy data set. So we will see how a messy data set would look like. How would that look like? So we will be able to get a better idea, how a messy data set would look like and what we are trying to achieve. So we will try to create one. And while doing the hands on exercises, we will try to beautify whatever a messy data set we have created. So by the end of covering all of these part, you will definitely able to master this topic and you will gain so much confidence about it. And lastly, in the hands-on exercises only, we will be directly or indirectly covering the recap of whatever we have learned and understood so far. So are you excited? Let's get forward to it. Now let's try to understand what do I mean by data cleaning and why do we need to have it. So before going for that, let's understand what type of data on a day-to-day life we can see. So let me take a very simple example. I am some organizer of an event, okay, and I have created one Google form. So that Google form have some details, for example, my name, my roll number, my city, my phone number. Okay, I guess these many are fine, and maybe we can put standard or class std we will put. So we have created a Google form and we are circulating it with the students. So I want my students to register using my Google form. Now let's try to see what all kind of inputs we will get. So let's see, we end up getting some data from the students. So how would that look like? So let me quickly try to write these: city, phone number, and standard. So for example, one guy has mentioned his name as Rahul. His roll number is 1. His city is Mumbai. Number is, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Standard is 5. Another person is Rohan. So he has mentioned his name as Rohan, roll number 2, and he has mentioned everything in caps. Mumbai, and 1, 3, 4, 5, and he's of class 6. Another one is Anjali. Her roll number is 3, and she has also written Mumbai. Phone number is 1335. And standard is, so she has written 1V, which represents nothing but my 5. And I have another student, let's say Raj. Raj has written something like this. His roll number is 4. And he has written all small. He has filled the form in all small letters. 2337. And he has written also 5. So if you see, as from their part, they have definitely written the correct values. But sometimes the name has the first letter as caps, all letter as caps, not even a one letter of caps. Even if you see, cities are same. Still in name, we do have the variations, right? But in city, I see, okay, this is same, this is same. But this is all caps. and this is all small. So this sort of data can look little messier to be read, or to generate query, because whenever we want to compare some string or something, we are going to use the like keyword to compare my strings, or compare strings, or any string related function to achieve, I need to use that. So to beautify it, we need data cleaning, and then data cleaning comes into the picture. So here I want to data clean it. How would that look like? So if I say I would make some constraints about name, roll number, city, phone number, or standard. So I will try to make sure that only first letter in alphabet is capital. So it would be Rahul, Rohan, Anjali, and Raj. Then roll number we have, and then let's say only first letter of the city is capital. Mumbai, and again Mumbai. My rest of the data will remain same, and here let's say only numbers we want. So it will be 5 5. So can you see the difference? So this we have taken like a very small basic example. I just want you to understand what does a messy data look like, and while cleaning the data, how we can do that. So after cleaning, our data looks like this, and you see the difference, right? It looks more readable. We will be able to write better queries, and whatever operations in future comes in, it will be easier to achieve something, right? So that's why data cleaning comes into the picture. When you go on a very high scale products or in a big companies, okay, how would that look like? So these are only four examples here, but we will play around with millions of data, thousands of data. So in that case, that beautify has to be done with the data, otherwise we won't be able to make things work from the back end. So that is all about like why we need data cleaning. How does a data messy text look like? Why do we need to have it? What is the purpose of beautifying it? So I hope that is clear. So since this is clear, let's move ahead with the next topic. Now let's try to understand what are all the SQL string functions which would help us to beautify the text better or help us to clean the data. So, our very first SQL string function is trim. So, when I say what do I mean by trim? So, for example, in my form, a student mentioned a name as Rahul Sharma. Okay, and there was one space. Another student mentioned Rahul Kumar. Okay, so if you see, we are having unnecessary space after the name, even while writing a country name. So, for example, one wrote India, another one wrote India, another one wrote India. So, we do not want this unnecessary spacing or any unnecessary special characters to get involved in the data. So, in such cases, we can use trim. It will help us to eliminate the extra space or the character what we will mention. So if I just simply write trim and my full name as my new name, so I will get a new name without the space. So it will handle to eliminate the unnecessary characters which is not required. The second one is lower or upper. As discussed in the previous video as well, so lower is simply related to our lowercase, and this is nothing but our uppercase. So for example, I need to specify that, some users have written these data: India, India, India. So if I want to make all as caps, what I can do is I will mention upper and then my country name. So it would help us to gain the similar format of the country. So in such case, we are going to use our lower and upper string functions. With the similar way of the upper as well, lower can be also used. So where we can use the lower? While writing emails. So if you observe, all the email IDs have only lowercase characters. There is no uppercase. So in that case, for the specification, we can use lowercase characters. Now let's see. Okay, we have this one, this two. Now moving on to next, we have third as replace. So for example, in a name or anywhere, people are using some full stop or comma and we need to replace it with some space or even, other special character. So how we can do that? So what we can do, we can just simply use replace. For example, that is my email ID. And some folks have mentioned two dots instead of one. So what this will do, it will read this, replace this with this. So that's how we can do, and then we can mention from our which table. So in such cases, my replace comes into the picture. So on coming to the length, so length is nothing but my string length in Nave terminology, if I would say, string length. If I want to check, how many characters a name has or a country has, in such cases, we can use the length function here. And one more is there, which is called position. So while writing the queries, we are going to use all of these methods. So you don't have to worry. We are just trying to get our fundamentals clear right now. And while the actual implementation, you will be able to visualize it better, while writing the query, how would that look like in the table and what output we are getting. So for the position, so for example, I want to get the position where in my email ID, so I say example @mail.com. So I want to find the position of this @. How I can do that? So I can simply write my position. I would mention my character. I would use my in phrase. I will mention my column. So this will help me to get the exact position where the @ is there in my example @mail.com. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for this, my output would come out to be 8th position. So these are some very common terminologies or string functions which we are going to use going forward. And if you are still unable to understand, you don't have to worry about it, because while writing the query as well, we will also brush up the concepts again. Okay, so since now we have the understanding what is a messy data and how we can beautify it to clean the data using our string functions. Now we will try to create a messy data. So I will be using sqlite.com, which can be found on Google. So, in case you do not have it installed in your laptop, you don't have to worry about it. We can definitely use this online, and it will be available. Like the instance is there for around 3 to 4 hours. So, you can feel free to use it while doing this lecture. And I would recommend you do this along with me. Do this with me. I would request you, like using that, you will get a better understanding and you don't have to rewatch it later, because you will be having the fundamentals clear. Only for the revision purpose you can rewatch it later. So let's get started to create our messy data set. And how would that look like? Okay, so I have opened the SQLiteonline.com. I will be using this. So let's get started with creating our. So I will create a messy data set. So we will simply create one table, so which will have the information in a very messed up form, and we will do all the queries and exercises to beautify it and see how we can do that. So let me create a table called customers raw, since it is a raw data. So I would need one ID of type int, and I will also make it as a primary key. I would request you to do this along with me, so that you get a better understanding. We will use a full name of type varchar, and let's put 30 characters. Let's put one email, which would be my, again, varchar of 100 characters. Let's say a full name, let's make it as 100 only, because we are not segregating as the first name, middle name, and the last name. So let's include the phone number. Let's make it as varchar again and make it as 20 characters. Let's include my country name, which would be again my varchar. And let's add it, and let's just simply add something like address, which would be again my varchar. So let me add it. So let me try to run this query. We have just simply tried to create one customer raw table, and we are going to add some data to it. So let me run it, and if I try to visualize it, select star from my customers row, I guess I won't get anything, because our table is empty right now and we have not added anything yet. So yeah, my table would look like this. Now let's try adding the values to my table. So I would do insert into my customers raw values, and let's start adding one by one. So I do have some values handy. Let me use that only. It would help us to save the time. Yeah, I guess this is fine. Let me make it better. Yeah, so if you see, we are using IDs, name. So if you observe, we are adding some random spaces here. The characters are not alphabetically like in uppercase. Some spaces in front, some random, special characters. Even in the email IDs, you see that we have uppercase characters as well, lowercase characters as well. in phone numbers you might see some different format, like some are using dash, some are using brackets, and some are not using any of those. Even if you see the name of the country, some are using different characters, right? And if you see, like, this guy Sam Wilson has put the phone number as 123.456. Like, it's not an IP address, although it's a phone number, but that's how he has written. And if you observe, there are two at the rate signs. So that's how a bad data would look like. So let's try to insert it. So we have inserted it, and let's try to check our table back again. Okay, so this table looks so much messy. So if you see, these are caps lock. Here there are here there are double dots. Here there are brackets, not brackets, plus sign, dash. Here the country is India, like this. There's so much space. So we are going to see, with the help of queries, how are we going to take it forward. So we have already created a data set. So using this data set, we are going to solve the questions now. So if you want to add a couple of more values to it to get a better understanding, please go ahead and add it, because the more you practice and more such scenarios you include, you will only have a better clarity on the topic. So let's get started with the hands-on problem now. So let's get started with the hands-on, and I have a couple of questions. So it would be on two parts. So this is part one, and in the continuation, we are going to do 8 more problems. So in total, we are going to do 15 problems, which are good enough to get a better understanding about the topic. And we are going to do everything practically. So we are not going to discuss about theory anymore. So I want you to stay with me, and I want you to also perform these query from your side. So let me copy this, and let me open my SQLite editor, and let me add these here. Let me comment these out. So we will see one by one how we can do that. So we are going to perform one by one, so you don't have to worry about it. So let's get started with our very first problem here. It says remove leading and trailing spaces from full name. Okay, so first let's discuss what is that string function which can be used here. Pause the video, take your time, think about it, and then come back again. Yes, trim is correct because it helps us to eliminate the unnecessary spaces or the characters which we do not want. So in this one, we are going to use trim here. How we can do that? Let's see. So I would say select ID, and I would use my trim full name. Okay, I would write from here, from my customers raw. So let me try to run this. There is some error here. Okay, I need to put the comma because we are using some like two columns, right? Okay, so if you see, it has reduced our unnecessary spaces. So if you would ask me, how was that looking previously? So this was looking something like this, right? And now we have used this. So very good. We have removed the leading and trailing spaces from the full name. Let's start with the second one. So it says convert all emails to the lowercase. How we can do that? So let me do select. I would use my lower function. I would also want to remove the spaces because there are some random spaces here. So I will, okay, let me just simply do without eliminating the space, and then we can see how does that look like from my customers row. Okay. So, but we know that, unnecessary spaces are there. So it's safe to use trim here. So it would help us. So if you see, there are some unnecessary spaces right here in Sam Wilson, right? So we do not want that. So that's why I will use trim here. It will help us to remove extra spaces. Wait, let me run it. Yeah. So let's see our table again. Okay. Now let's move to the third one. Remove all spaces inside my phone number. So I need to remove my spaces from my phone number. So let's see how we can do that. So if you remember, we had this function called replace. So I would say replace my phone. I would mention space. I want to replace it with like no character, and I would make it as customers raw. So let's try to run this. So if you see, it has removed all the unnecessary space. So let's try to again reread our previous data. Okay, great. Great so far. So we have already covered the three problems right here. Let's move to the fourth one. So the fourth one says extract first four letters of name. So first four letters of name, how we can do that? So there is this function called left. So it will help us to get the left characters, and then we have right. So it is included with the trim only. So let's see how does that look like. So we will use left trim. I would say full name, and then comma. I need four characters, not five. And then I will mention my from customers row. So let's try to run this. Okay, it is unable to check. Let's see. Okay, let's try to see again. Oh yes, so it does not work with the I would say SQL engines. So this one would not work. This does not work with SQL engines. Let's see what would be the alternatives for the same. So we can use the concept of substring here. So I would say select substring trim, and I would use my full name. Okay, from character 1 I need position, and then I would use in my, okay, I need to mention my trim full name. Okay, and I need to -1 position from there, and I would mention my table. So let's see if this works for us. Okay, it is unable to find again. So we do have, okay, looks like it is unable to find out, but Yeah, you can definitely try it in some different engine, and maybe this will definitely work here. So let's ignore this. Okay, moving forward. So let's try to get the length of my cleaned email. Okay, so I would say select. I would mention my length. Trim. So cleaned means no trailing and leading spaces. Trim email from my customers row. Let's see if that works. So we are getting the length of our emails without trailing or leading spaces. Now the sixth one we have is find the position of at the rate in each email. So how we can do that? So if you remember, we are going to use the position string functions. So let's do select position. We will mention which character we need in email, and then we need to mention my customer row. Okay, we do have email, right? Yes. I'm not sure why is it coming out to be red. Let's see. No such table email. But we are trying to check in the column. Okay. Let's try to see the error. So it says no such table. Okay, so looks like the position is not supported. It is not supported in SQL. So let's see the alternative for this. So my alternative can be locate at the rate, and I will mention my row, column from my table. So let's see if that works. What is the position? Okay, locate function also it is unable to. Let's see if I insert inst. Let's see. Okay, but I guess this won't work as expected, like whatever we are trying to do. I'm not really sure, but to find the position we usually use the position, but in the SQL table it is not compatible with that. Maybe we can try with char index as well. Let's try if that works. No, it also not uses that. In Oracle we can use instr. So okay, locate also doesn't work. But okay, you can definitely use the position function to do so. You can try exploring it, and maybe that can be your homework. Now let's going forward. Let's try to replace the double dot. So we saw in the email, right? We had double dots. Let's do select replace my email. What I need to replace and with what. And I will mention my from customers row. I guess replace will also not work in SQL. Okay, it did work. Okay. So if you see the double dots, we were able to replace here. And I will mention as new email. So my table name will be beautified. So, okay, so far we have seen a very challenging, modifications of the strings, what we can do. You can also try a few more things from your end. Now let's see some more problems so you will get better clarity, or what all are the areas where we can modify and play around with it. Now, first let's mark. So we were able to do all. We were finding some challenges for the SQL. So I want you to try it in different websites, or different types of, like Postgres. We have MongoDB, or we have SQL Lite, SQL, MySQL. So for all those, like, we have different naming conventions. So I want you to research the function names for, like, whatever you are trying to use, SQL, MySQL, or anything, Postgres. So it would help you to get a better idea, and although, like, more or less the functionalities would be same. So we were able to cover all of these. Now let's move forward. So let me try to add this in my SQL IDE. Okay, let me comment it out. I don't know, for some reason it is vanishing some of the characters, but yeah, we can ignore it. Yeah, so we will see one by one how we did for the previous 7 questions. We have left with more 8 questions, so we will be able to get more practice. So in the continuation of the same, let's continue this. I would make this as Q8. I don't know, for some reason it is vanishing, but ठीक है, let it be. Okay, so standardized country names, trim plus lowercase. So we need to use trim and lowercase. How we can use that? So let's try to do that. Select. Let me first use trim and my country name, and I would use from my customer raw. So okay, I'm able to get this, and I need all in as a lowercase. So let me mention it as lower. I don't know, for some reason it is. Okay, let me write it. Lower, trim, country, customer raw. Let's see if that works. So if you see, we were able to write all these in lower. So if I want to do the same in upper, okay, I don't know, it is misleading my data. So you can also try it using the upper one. So let's move to the next one. So we need to remove hyphens from the full name. So if we see our complete table once again, full name. Okay, this Mary Jane has hyphen in her name. Let's see how we can remove that. So we will try to use replace function here. So we would use select. Sorry, it should be replace. And my full name, I want to replace my hyphen with none character. And I would mention my from customer raw. Replace. Why this red one is showing? Okay, it did work. So yeah, we can ignore those red one. So if you see, earlier it was just the Mary Jane, but now we were able to replace the hyphen with no character. So let's move on to the 10th one. So what we are supposed to do, we need to extract a domain name from the email. So I guess we won't be able to do this here because I am unable to figure out how that works in MySQL. But we will write the query so that for your reference we will have something. So I would use substring. Okay, and if you see, so we need to find the position of at the rate, and before that we need to specify. So that would be a domain name. So like whatever is coming after my at the rate is my domain name, and before that is my name or username, anything. So I need to specify that email from, I would say, position, although it won't be able to fetch it, but yes, we will write it at the rate in my email, and I need to start from +1 position, and it would be my from customer row. It won't be run, but yeah, you can try this out. So we are trying to find the position of at the rate, and from the +1 character we will be trying to get the domain name till the end. So that's how you can extract the domain name. So now moving on to the next one. So we need to convert variations of USA to USA. So if you see, we do not want dot, as well as we want all these to lowercase. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So let's first remove the dot, and then we'll see how we can make it as the lowercase. So we will be able to understand better. I would say replace. So I would use my country name, and so I would mention this has to be as this. Okay, and I will mention my table. So let's see if that works. Okay, so if you see, we have made it just as USA now. Now let's try to trim it. So I will make it as, okay, I need to write it again. I will trim this. Okay, I will trim this and make the country. I will close the bracket, mention u.s.a as USA. And let's see if that works. Okay, so if you see, we were able to replace the USA with my USA right here. And if you see, we have this US.a as well, but we were only supposed to replace this one. So we can totally ignore that because the requirement was just for this one. With going forward, like we can remove the dots, and we can remove such characters. Okay, great. So far we are done with good number of problems. I hope you are getting along well, and you are also getting some confidence by now. So extract last 3 digits of the phone number. So let's try to do so. So we need to select. Okay, we will do right because we need to read from the right of my characters. And then there is a function called regex-xp. I would use that. It will help us to trim it down. And I will use phone. I would use my 0 to, I guess, 9 character. I need to mention this. 0 to 9. I will put this one here, and then I will convert it here, and I will mention it as for my 3, and then I need to mention my customer. So let's see if we are able to get it. Okay, it is unable to find it, but maybe you can try it in your IDE if that function works. So using this only, we can do that, or even using the concept of position as well, we can do that, right? So you can try that from your side as well. So now we need to do remove any non-alphanumeric characters from the address. So we are going to do the similar way, but we know that it won't work here because it is SQL, and in MySQL it would work. So let's try to write the query at least, so that you can have some reference later. I would mention replace, and then in address we need to do it, right? So we will mention just the address. I need to mention A to my small z, capital A to capital Z, and 0 to my 9 characters. Alphanumeric is like this. So I would close it. I would mention one space. I mean, like no characters, and I need to mention G here. And I don't know, there is some issue with the IDE today. So I need to mention from, okay, I have not closed it, but I did close. Okay, I need to do this. Yeah, from customer raw. It won't work, but let's try to see. Yeah, it is unable to understand that. Yes, so we can just simply ignore it, and you can try it from your side. How does that look like? So we need to convert full name to a proper case. So how does that full name look like? So when I say proper case, so if I say Rahul, the first alphabet should be capital and other should be small, right, or lower. So similar way, if any name has all caps, so we need to convert other than the first character, other characters as lower. So that's what we are trying to achieve here. So I would say select concat. Okay, I would use left trim full name. I would use first character. Then I would concat it with lower substring trim, and then I would use my full name to, and I need to close my concat bracket, and I will make it as proper name, and I will make it as from customers raw. So let's see if that helps us to work. Okay, looks like we have missed one bracket here. Okay, so I need to mention, oh, why is it coming like this? Upper, okay, I will write it again. Upper left, I need to mention my trim, my full name, one. Yeah, this should be fine. So if that even doesn't work, so yeah, because it is unable to syntax near. Okay, so it has to be the comma, that what we have missed. Okay, it is unable to find the left, so we can use substring, or using the very first position we can use that. But you can definitely use such query to convert your full name to a proper case. I hope that proper case is clear for you. And if I want to create a fully clean data set, how would I do that? So I will give you this as a homework, and I want you to give it a try. And whatever functions did not work in my SQL, I want you to try it in MySQL or Oracle, whatever you are comfortable with. and try it out. Otherwise, you can at least get familiar with the concepts because it will help you to get knowledge. So, if I want to conclude, so we were able to do these, although we got some issues with the IDE which we were using. So, mostly it was compatible, like some were compatible with Postgres, some with Oracle, some with MySQL, and some with SQL. And this one I have given it as homework. So I want you to try all of these again because this is quite challenging part, and this these all concepts come to be a very advanced one, I would say. So once your concepts, or the basic fundamentals are clear, then you can get started with these. So I hope you were able to get the complete idea of it. We discussed so much about whatever we planned. We were trying to understand what was data cleaning, then we tried to understand the overview of the SQL string functions. We saw so many functions associated with it, and we tried creating a messy data set as well. How would that look like? So, and we did around 15 exercises. So I hope this was helpful for you. So we started from the Google Forms to analyze it, and then we created and we tried to implement in the real time compiler as well. So I hope this was clear for you, and I would recommend you to practice, and just practice. Keep up the good learning going, and you don't have to stop yourself, or in case you find it challenging, go back, try it out again. It will definitely work. So, okay, then thank you. Bye bye.